All right, welcome back to the second discussion now. The APC had been polarized into factions in many states, and this was compounded by the crisis arising from parallel Congress at ward, local government, and state levels. A National Reconciliation Committee was set up to resolve the crisis ahead of the party's national convention, earlier scheduled for February 26, but the committee did not achieve results. Now, the convention was consequently shifted to March 26. While at it, Bello took over on Monday in a dramatic manner from the Yobe State Governor, Mai Mala Buni, who is said to be currently in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. Now, one crisis too many for the ruling party is one of the questions that a lot of people are actually asking today. And right here in the studio, we have joining us a member of the All Progressives Congress, Aliyu Audu. Good morning and welcome to Daybreak today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's begin with the burning issue. A lot of people are talking about, the Niger State governor taking over for Mai Mala Buni, who is currently in Dubai. Was this a planned move all along?
I mean, it's anticipated, not planned in any way for a progressive party like ours, and with the caliber of leadership we have in the party. If you've been following development in our party, there have been a lot of reactions from members, majority of members regarding the way and manner the party is being managed, by the caretaker committee headed by His Excellency Governor Mai Mala Buni of Yobe State. And I mean, if you know clearly, in 2020, June to be precise, they were set up, when the then National Working Committee was disbanded, and a caretaker committee was set up for the sole aim of, conducting convention, like the name implies, Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, and they had 6 months to do that. They failed, requested for an extension, they failed. Another extension. I mean, we're about 2 years into it now, and we still don't have convention. And if you look at everything that's happened, our group, All Progressive Congress Rebirth Movement, have been, at the forefront of calling party leaders and stakeholders, alike, to the awareness of the need to step up and ensure we do not go down the way the former, party in government did. And the need for us to do things differently in order to preserve, the legacies of President Muhammadu Buhari and, continue to deliver on the promises we made to Nigerians who overwhelmingly, supported the party and our vision to, make Nigeria a greater country. I think in the recent development, I mean, most of the things APC Rebirth have been pushing out regarding all of the, internal plans, hidden plans and agendas of a selfish few who want to impose their wishes on the party at the expense of the majority of the party. I mean, they all came to light. And of course, like you expect, the real leadership of the party won't be happy with it. And actions are now being taken from things that have happened in the last 2 days as to, quietly and gently easing, the chairman and the secretary of the caretaker committee out, so that the other members of the committee will take charge, provide leadership, because members are have nearly almost lost hope and trust in them. They've said too many things about this convention, and we have seen so little to believe. And I'm confident that Governor Bello will restore that trust, that hope, and that confidence in members that, true to the plan, 26th March will come, and it will be, hitch-free, it will be credible, and whichever way we decide to go, be it direct, indirect, or consensus, it's going to be true, in every sense of it, in ways that both aspirants, emerging candidates and, members of the party will be comfortable and will be happy with the outcome, in line with the desire of Mr. President to ensure that power at all levels are returned to the people who truly, own the powers.
Okay. Now, there have been some reports that some governors actually plotted the removal of Buni. How true is this?
There will always be, talks about plots and no plots. I mean, it's politics. We're used to this. But the fact is, maybe, just maybe, if Mai Mala Buni, His Excellency, had done what he was supposed to do, in the first 6 months, he probably would have exited honorably. And I remember clearly that a couple of weeks back, we in our press release, we sent a note to him asking him to try as much as possible to honor the new date of the 26th. After we had raised alarm at the time, that the 26th of February wasn't feasible, that it was a calculated plan to further shift the convention, knowing that if you go back, just search the internet and you see our press release regarding that, when we stated that, the 17th and 18th weekend were a better date, to do our convention, knowing that the 26th was already a mark for by-election in 6 states that the APC will be taking part in. So it would have, we knew from get-go that it was impossible to have convention on the 26th, and we knew it was a plan for them, and we knew they had obtained, certain, through their third parties, certain court injunction that would stop the convention, because their original plan is to be in a position. Mai Mala wanted to be national chairman to carry out the convention and carry out the primary for 2023. That was his original plan all along. And he didn't care how detrimental that could be to our party, to the legacy of Mr. President, to our democracy, and to the nation at large. If you understand clearly, we have 2023 to set things right for the country, and APC is in a poor position to do that. The level of brain drain between the ages of 18 and 50, the first choice on the average Nigerian list right now is to get out of this country. It is becoming a country of no hope. So much has been achieved by this government in the last nearly 7 years. So much has been achieved compared to, the previous years that were wasted by the then government in power, party in power. In order to consolidate on this, in order to build on this, we need, as an institution, a political institution, to improve on our processes, on the way we do things. We need to put our best foot forward, at every instance. And we didn't just do that. We didn't do that. And if you rather, for selfish reason, risk the legacy of Mr. President, risk losing the general election to the opposition. It was clear. He had it coming. He had the option to make history for himself, but I would say it's up to any governor. No governor should. I'm even thinking that they acted too late. But not too late, better late than never. But he saw it coming himself. He couldn't have done this for this long to this number of people and expect that, at some point people will rise up and, react. He cost it to himself. No governor did it for him. He could have done what he was supposed to do in 6 months and exited the place in praises, but
okay.
This is how it has to go.
Now, reports are actually saying that the president ordered the removal of Mai Mala Buni, but does the president actually have, the right to order the removal of any member of the CPC, who is actually a product of a collective decision of the party's, NEC meeting?
All right. To set that straight, Mai Mala Buni, as we speak, has not been removed.
Okay.
There've been change of guards at the affairs of the caretaker committee. Not only owing to his absence. I'm told he's away on medical trip. I wish him the best of health. But I think it is more of still the caretaker committee re-engineering itself to ensure they deliver on the mandate. Any other thing that has to happen will happen democratically, will happen in line with the constitution of our party. Mr. President is a Democrat, and he has proven that time and time again. Mr. President has refused to intervene on electoral matters that in a way could favor his party like the previous presidents have. You know, he won't violate the constitution of the party or that of the, country by doing anything that isn't supposed to be done. What has just happened is just, Governor Bello acting, in the capacity of the head of caretaker committee right now. Then, if you are aware, there's been a notice of NEC meeting. NEC is the only active board. I mean, we haven't done the convention, and the board of trustees isn't in place. So the next organ of the party that have the power is the NEC, which he has rightly called for a meeting with a 7 days notice. I expect that other actions required to put our party on the path of glory will be taken at the NEC, and that will be, well within the provisions of our constitution, and there will be disregard any such information as saying Mai Mala has been sacked by Mr. President. Now, everything that needs to be done will happen during the NEC meeting.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that the APC has achieved quite a lot, in the last 7 months or so. Despite, the insecurity the nation is facing, and despite the hardship a lot of people are facing, a lot of people would actually not agree to that.
Yes, I'll say this, the one area we have failed, not failed, we haven't performed. Yeah, I mean, call it what it is, we have failed indeed. It's in area of communication. We haven't done well in terms of managing information and communication with our employers, which is the Nigerian populace. We've been high-headed in some instances, and we've been, seemingly bossy, to provide information or to respond to information. I mean, we came in with a lot of promises. We came in with a lot of hope, not because we wanted to just mislead Nigerians. We came in because we knew as a country, we're headed in a direction that we shouldn't be. But there were a lot more that should have been, that we didn't know of. Quite frankly, there were a lot more that we didn't know of before we got into power. So we had made promises that we intended to keep, but there were challenges that we faced, and there were challenges that were not just peculiar to Nigeria, peculiar to our regime. There were global challenges. If you look at the global indices from 2015 till date, it has been, rocky for even the most developed nations, And we have managed to, push through those difficult moments and coming out on top. And this has been down to the sincerity, honesty of Mr. President, his determination to leave a lasting legacy, and, the vision, his vision and that of the party for a greater Nigeria. This has happened, but there have been challenges too that have made some of the promises we made unachievable at the rate and at the times we promised to make them. But what we needed to have done at the very beginning, the moment we started all of this, we noticed what we didn't know was to communicate easily. I mean, over the years, people make governance seem like a cultist, a secret cult. No, it isn't. It's democracy. It's government of the people, for the people, by the people. I mean, you look at it today and you see that 85% of those in government were not in government some 10, 11 years ago, especially at the center. So the people who are outside complaining today, largely, part of them will find themselves in government tomorrow. But if things don't change, then it's down to us as a people. So what I think we, as a progressive party, should have done in government was to have managed the information better, communicate to Nigerians, where we were making success, where the challenges were, what the hardship, what the impact of some bad choices we've made as a people, as a government in the past would be on us, and how to, cushion those effects through I mean, the SIP was largely designed to cushion some of this effect. It wasn't like they were largely unanticipated, but I'll say again, down to our communication and the effectiveness of those projects or programs that were instituted to take care of this. I'll tell you, if you mentioned security, in global indices, in terms of equipping our military, we have gone, high up. In terms of, I mean, we knew they were like a geographical location that were under the control of terrorists and all of that prior to our community government. That is not happening today. I mean, Borno is way better. I mean, that is the epicenter of insecurity in the country, or probably in the region for a long time. It is different today. I mean, I must give credit to Professor Zulum, who's doing a fantastic job as a governor, and I'm happy he's a progressive governor. Such are governors that we are proud of, and we want to have more in our party. When these challenges happen, what we needed to do was to communicate to the people and let them understand. If a bus, full with people, traveling in a direction, suddenly realizes that they're in the wrong direction, to make a U-turn, there's going to be a lot of inconvenience. You probably have experienced that even in a car. There's going to be a lot of inconveniences making a U-turn and getting back on the right track. I think that U-turn, that process of making that U-turn is where we are. What we're feeling at the moment is just that temporary inconvenience that we all need to be aware of. We all need to know that we have had years where we sold barrels of oil for $110, $115 per barrel. We're selling 2.1 million barrels every day.
Okay.
There was no infrastructure. There was no investment in security. It was private jet, it was yacht, it was private spending, it was corruption. We are all aware of this. And we understand the fact that over the decades, corruption has actually, taken so much shape that it was feeding a series of legitimate businesses. So the moment the president came in through his, corruption fighting, loopholes blocking.
I think we're going to digress a little bit. When the new date was fixed for the APC convention, we heard there were going to be zonal congresses. But now we're hearing that is suspended. Why?
Zonal Congress is alien to our constitution. And the moment they made that out, we the APC Rebirth, we reacted to it, that there's no such thing in APC constitution. What we have regarding zonal ZEC, committee, zonal executive committees, who are national officers that are supposed to be elected on the ground of national convention. They are not zonal officers, they are national officers deployed to zones. By our constitution, all of those positions are national officers. And there is no such thing. I mean, there are only 3 congresses. 3 places such should happen. Is it 3? I mean, we have the World Congress, the local government Congress, and the state Congress, then the convention. Exactly. These are the 4 places where officers of the party are expected to be elected. There is no zonal Congress. Zonal Congress was just a design, a time-wasting design by Mai Mala Buni and the secretary, especially, so as to buy more time, to push us to a point where they'll be able to tell us that we have no time but to join presidential primary of 2023 and national convention together, in order to fuel their, ulterior evil plans. But thank God we are past that now, and
yes.
rightly. Yeah.
All right. So you actually seem affirmative that the internal wrangling in the APC would have actually come to an end right now. But the latest one has to do with the national secretary resigning. Well, in some quarters, it is actually said that he was forced to resign. Just in 1 minute, can you clear the air on that before we wrap up?
I'm not privy to that. I do not know. I mean, I have seen videos, but I do not take seriously things I see on social media until I see them on pages of, places I know are verifiable. So I'll play the fifth on that.
All right. I think with that, we've come to the end of this discussion. Yes. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence on Daybreak today. That was a member of the All Progressives Congress, Aliyu Audu, joining us in the studio. And with that, we've come to the end of Daybreak today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same station. I'm Darshan Husseina Osman.
And I'm Zainab Bala. See you tomorrow.